For Philadelphia Flyers hockey, as the Flyers are on the road to take on the Dallas Stars. Another couple of road games for the Flyers in Dallas tonight to take on the Stars, and then coming up on Tuesday night, late night hockey to say the least. At 11 o'clock, it'll be against the Vegas Golden Knights. And there he is. It's Jason Martinez, Brian Smith. We're efforting to get Bundy's technologically connected. We will do so. But, Bri, how was the flight? How's Dallas? Is it warm down there?
Oh my God, we got off the plane yesterday. It's 90 degrees out. I was like, I'm done with this. This is packed away for the year. We're not used to this, but yeah, both these trips, it's going to be a little bit warm where we're at. So we get one more last trip mixed in with some summer weather here. Yeah, no, everything's nice. The flight was fine, and everybody's ready to go here tonight. It's an opportunity here for the Flyers to try to build off last week and that really successful homestand. And they've got, I know we're only 4 games in, but they could have a measuring stick here tonight and Tuesday against these two teams.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest storyline tonight is that Sam Ersson is getting the start. I mean, the other storyline, and we'll talk about all of it, Bundy's going to join us in just a second as soon as our producer tells me if he's connected or not. But Sam Ersson gets his first start of the year, Bri. He hasn't played a game since October 2nd.
Yeah.
And, that was obviously in the preseason. He hasn't seen a regular season game. But let me give you the numbers on Ersson.
Okay.
Last year, 23 years of age, 12 games played. He had a record of 6-3-0-0, which is pretty crazy because, the team did not have a good record. And at the point he was in, it was not really moving along very well. But an .899 save percentage and there it is, 3.07 goals against average. He does have a shutout to his name as well. So that's the big storyline tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the main storyline, and I don't think anybody's really surprised by it because when you sit down and look at the schedule, Carter played the first 4 games. They need to get him in here. You wouldn't want to throw him in there against Vegas, so this is the opportunity to do it. In fact, the Stars are also playing Jake Ottinger tonight. So for both these teams, it's an opportunity to get their other guys some work. But the interesting approach to it is that Carter's not dressing at all. Felix Sandstrom is going to back up. So Carter's getting a full night off, full day off of preparation today. He was able to come out and do the morning skate, but afterwards did a lot of extra work, good work day with Kim Dillabaugh here in Dallas. And, then he gets to, completely rest tonight, both physically and mentally. Doesn't have to be ready to go in. And Felix Sandstrom will back up. Other than that, the only news, I think, is that Mark Stahl is week to week with an upper body injury. So that takes care of the extra defenseman right now, at least for the Flyers, that Igor Zamula and Emil Andre will slot in tonight. Other than that, the lineup's the same.
Well, that if you're looking for one advantage to having 3 goalies, it's this. It's that Carter doesn't even dress and that he doesn't have to sit there on the bench on his off day. Like you said, he worked with Kim Dillabaugh working on some of probably the technical elements of his game, and he gets the night off, and Felix Sandstrom is the backup. So that is a good thing for sure. Let me just ask our producer, Mike, do you have audio from Bundy?
I don't think he can hear us.
He can turn on his computer audio and hear us.
Problem, yeah.
Yeah, but if he's going to go over the air, then let's put Bundy up right now, and I'll tell Bundy to just put up his audio on the stream, and he can hear us that way, and we can communicate with him, and that way we can properly have a conversation here. Bundy, can you hear us?
Well, I can hear you, Jace. I don't know what's going on with the radio, but
anyway,
I
can
hear
have to
you.
put on my other headphone to hear him properly as well.
Yeah.
And you're getting him, Mike, back at the station? He's not getting him back to the station. Okay. I'm going to pull him out of the stream. We'll work on this during our first time out.
That's coming up.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not working, but these are the technological advanced ages we live in, Smitty.
Yes.
You're in Dallas. He's over in Jersey. For goodness
I'm in
sake.
Dallas. He's in Jersey. You're somewhere, Westchester, right?
Yeah.
We can usually all jump in and have a good time over the wonders of the internet. So it happens. But we're. I looked around. I didn't see Bundy's statue here in Dallas. I think it might be. It's either being worked on or they replaced it with Dirk Nowitzki. I'm not sure which. But,
you think they would have replaced Bundy with Dirk?
I think
he only won an NBA title there.
There is a Dirk Nowitzki statue here, and I was unaware that he had reached statue prominence in Dallas, but I guess he did. He also has a street named after him here. One
That's
one
an
of
easy
the
one to spell. Where do you
one of
live?
the
Nowitzki Way.
yeah, one of the streets around the building here. So, it's an area down here. It's really nice. They got it built up pretty well. There's condos and apartments around here and night spots and all that. So it's a good little area here around America Airlines Center, and they've had a lot to kind of be happy about here over the last couple of years. So, Flyers hoping to snap a little bit of a streak here tonight, though.
Yeah, Bundy played a whopping 11 games for the Dallas Stars, the only other NHL team that he played for. And I'm trying to see what number jersey he even wore. I mean, I'm going to pull up a picture of him just to look, and I imagine it just looks weird because you didn't never see him in another jersey, let alone a Dallas Stars jersey. It looks like, he wore number 6 there.
Yes, he did. Look at that. Just a green 6.
He looks in this picture like he ate his way through the lockout for sure.
That's not nice. He's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, well, he was a +4. He was a +4 there in Dallas as well. Smitty, you had Mark Stahl coming out of the lineup. Igor Zamula goes back in. That's good news. I think Zamula's played 2 good games.
Yes,
and this is, you talk about opportunity, and sometimes it takes a guy going down to get it, and he's going to get it now. With Stahl out of the lineup for an extended period of time.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why the Flyers have depth like this is to accommodate for things like this. Now, Mark Stahl probably is going to be the depth, and now he's going to be out for a little bit. But these guys are going to have trial by fire. That's one thing John Tortorella said today in his media availability. They're going to have to jump in here with both feet and go against a very potent Dallas offense, and we're not even talking about Tuesday yet in Vegas. So, they're going to definitely get some big time here real quick at the NHL level. I mean, even your lowest defensive pairing at this level usually plays about 15 minutes a game. So, they're going to be out here tonight, and I'm sure the Flyers will do the best they can to protect them against certain situations. But there's only so much you can do on the road when you don't have last change and things like that. So there really isn't any reason not to look at this as a positive. I mean, again, where the Flyers are right now, they want to win every game they can. But if you lose a game and a couple guys like that get some really valuable experience, that's okay too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. You look at Rasmus Ristolainen hasn't played a game yet this year either.
Yeah.
So, that's another part of it too. And, you wonder how much of that, Risto is not in the lineup tonight, how much of that also is that he had that military training, I guess it was, or army training back in Finland this summer, and came in a little bit further behind than probably he normally would. So in goes Zamula, and Morgan Frost, though, third game this year, going to not draw back in. And it's tough. It's tough to draw back in, Bry, when your team just shut down the most prolific offensive team in the NHL and the top player. I mean, how do you make a change up front, really?
Yeah, exactly. It is hard to do, and it's I think Torts put it best the other day when he said it's not that Morgan Frost has played badly; it's that other teams or other players have played better, and that's a good thing from a team perspective. I don't think you have to worry. He's going to get back in there eventually. They're going to start having these back-to-backs and stuff like that, and they'll roll him in there eventually. I'm not too concerned about it at all at this point. And I think that I don't think it's a situation where it's going to wreck his confidence. I don't think it's going to wreck his development. It's just a run here where you've got things going well, and eventually momentum is going to turn back toward him, and he's going to be in there, and then he's going to have a really good game, and when they need to pull somebody out, it's going to be somebody else. So we'll see how it rolls here, but I don't think it's anything to get all worked up at all about at this point.
Yeah, I think the hard thing for the player is he wants to get off to a good start this season, and he's missing games. That's tough. Look, you're a pro, you got to deal with it, and when you get back in there, you got to make it so they can't pull you out.
Yeah.
That's the key. All right, let's take a time out here on our pregame show. Is the Flyers and the Dallas Stars. When we come back, I want to talk about the line of Sean Couturier, Cam Atkinson, and Owen Tippett. We'll do that when we return. You're listening to Philadelphia Flyers Hockey on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. Okay. back as the Philadelphia Flyers are set to take on the Dallas Stars in Dallas tonight. Here's what Dallas has done so far, Brian. It is a 2-1 win they got on opening night against the St. Louis Blues. That was a shootout win. Jake Ottinger in net for that one. That's going to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They lost to Vegas 3-2 in the shootout. Jake Ottinger in there as well. And then Anaheim was their last game on Thursday. They won that game 3-2. Jake Ottinger got the win. They're 2-0-1 on the season, and it's the Flyers and Dallas tonight. They get a weird schedule. They go to Pittsburgh after this, then back home, Toronto and Columbus. Then they go on the road to Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. Boy, the travel for a team like the Dallas Stars much different than it is for the Philadelphia Flyers. No doubt about that.
Yeah, and especially they're stuck in the middle of everything. Like them, St. Louis and Chicago, it's just got to be tough because you're constantly changing time zones and having to go. You got in the Pacific, you're 2 hours behind, which is still a bit of something to get used to, and then you end up going an hour the other way when you go to the east, and you're constantly in and out of it like that because there's only, if I'm not mistaken, the 3 teams in the Central Time Zone. So and there's someone up in Canada that are in there too, but it's a difficult situation when you're always doing that and stuff like that, and they don't have the luxury of the Flyers do of getting on a train and going to the Rangers or getting on a train and going to Washington and sometimes even busing to New Jersey. They don't have that. So that's part of being in the Western Conference, though.
Did they say clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right? Here I am stuck in the middle with you.
Right, exactly.
Steelers wheel. There you go. So it's the Dallas Stars tonight, and leading the way for the Stars. They got some good young talent. We're going to talk about young talent after we talk about the Couturier line in just a second. But when you look at Dallas, I mean, Jason Robertson is a guy that is one of those guys that can put the puck in the net. Obviously, Jamie Benn still kicking around in this league. Tyler Seguin, great goaltending, and Jake Ottinger. It's a tough task tonight and Pavelski too, the ageless wonder. So we do have Chris Terrian connected now. Bundy, can you hear us?
Hi, Bundy.
Why? It was really nice. You're giving me a hard time about my Dallas days, and all I could think to myself is, could either one of you show me a score sheet with your name on it from the NHL days?
Well, yeah, I have one because I pick the Stars occasionally.
No,
when I pick the Stars, my name gets on the score sheet.
There it is. My line for anybody that ever ranked me.
Yeah, Bundy, you were a +4 in those 11 games down there.
Of course I was.
Yeah. Who was your D partner down there? Was it Darian Hatcher?
Oh no, you know what's funny, dude? Actually, it's a great story because of the Desjardins, right, and that great chemistry I had. They put me with Zubov.
Oh, Zubov. Wow.
Dude, this guy was like a bearded freak show. I mean, some of the stuff that he could do was remarkable. He'd sit on the blue line, and I'm on one to the left, and he's stick handling with a guy like 2 feet in front of him, and I'm thinking, holy Jesus, this guy's dangerous. But no, he just makes some slick little play, and then after the game, this guy was beautiful. After the game, he'd be sitting in the shower, cigarette right in the mouth, in the shower, in the water. Back of his head. Old school, boys, old school.
End of an era there, right?
And Teppo Numminen was the other guy. Played a little bit. I obviously wasn't there long, but it was kind of fun. I always have the clout to say I had led the Dallas Stars in playoff goal scoring that
there
year.
You go.
I did had 2 goals in the series. And Dave Tippett said something. He was a coach. He said in the paper, anytime you got a really, really good, solid defensive defenseman leading your team in playoff goal scoring, you're not going to win much. And I'm like, totally right. So he comes up to me the next day as we're cleaning out and stuff. He says, hey, I just want to tell you, I'm sorry about saying that. I go, why? You're right.
No, he's right.
I mean, I outscored Mike Madonna in a playoff series. That shouldn't happen.
Yeah, not an ideal recipe to say the least.
Right.
But no, you're right. I've heard that Zubov was an absolute freak machine.
Yeah.
But Bundy, are you just stunned that Joe Pavelski's still in this league?
He's been their best player, not only just in the league.
Yeah, I mean he's 03 draft, Bundy.
He is, yeah. I mean, he's been around 20 years, But yeah, there's guys that can. Some guys can do that. I mean, he's been a pretty steady guy in terms of what he's done. But I mean, he's been great this year. He had that huge game in the playoffs last year. Yeah. Dallas, I missed a little bit of the breakdown at the beginning, but Dallas is a team to me that's kind of on that border. They still have an open window, to get through the West. Vegas obviously is playing great again, and they're probably still the pick, or Colorado. But yeah, they got some pretty really nasty teams out west at the top of the heap. But Dallas is a team I think that's come a long way, and I think the storyline through the year will be how well their goalie plays and if he can stay healthy. Um, they're a much better team. I mean, they were able to get rid of a guy like Klingberg, John Klingberg, and because Heiskanen has been just so good, he's elevated his game. So they have some stuff that I think Dallas is a very creative team up front. Jamie Benn's been pretty good to start, but the Flyers are going to have to be really ready for this team, especially coming out of the gate. Right now, I'll tell the Flyers one thing I would tell them is that nobody's going to take you lightly right now. You're 3-1. You've had a good start to the season, so be prepared for Dallas really coming out of this out of the gates hard here at home. And if you're at Philadelphia, just go out and play a pretty simple road game. And I think that they actually are kind of in road game mode right now, the way they've been playing, checking, tightening up in the middle of the ice. So they should be well suited for this game tonight.
But Brian and I were just talking about it. You saw the Couturier line the other night. Couturier goes almost 22 months basically without playing, and he's tasked with being on the ice every time McDavid's on the ice. He wasn't on for one of his shifts. It happened to be the shift where McDavid got a secondary assist and they scored. But he's on for every one of McDavid's shifts in that game. And we know, look, Sean Couturier is not a burner. He's not going to keep up with Connor McDavid in any kind of race. But it's the details of his game and the hockey IQ. What was your takeaway from not only Couturier in that last game, but that line? Because they outscored the Edmonton Oilers too, and their top line.
You know what? Positionally, he was sound, right? And I don't want to say he's lost a step, Brandon Coots. He has it. I mean, he played a really good game. I thought McDavid, no disrespect to the Flyers, I thought he was as god-awful as you're ever going to see McDavid be called god-awful. That's the worst game I've ever seen him play, to be quite honest with you. Live or, where I've actually studied in the game. And Draisaitl wasn't much better. Yeah. So people ask, did he have an off night or did the Flyers have a great night? I think the addition of Coots in there and the Flyers making good plays, smart plays with the puck, checking tightly in their own zone, took away a little bit of that space. But the one thing I did notice is McDavid in that game, and maybe you guys noticed as well, he didn't really have time to wind up, right? To get that puck at the top of his own circle in the D zone and just take it and go. And that's because the Flyers were able to clamp on him a little bit early. It's hard. You have to defend him in layers. And even though it seems like you got to back up because of his speed, if you can get him early, you will get him. It just takes a couple of guys to kind of get in on him and slow him down. If you don't, and he gets the puck at the top of the circles and gets his own blue line, which is only about 15 feet, you're in trouble. And that didn't happen the other night because he can literally beat three guys and make two defensemen look pretty stupid.
And you know what about that too, Bundy, is I think it was Cam Atkinson said after the game that they specifically talked about not letting him do that, not letting him wind up and get his speed. And the thing that popped into my head is like, well, there's another benefit to having Cam Atkinson and Sean Couturier back in the locker room. You've got that veteran leadership, if you will, to know how to deal with a guy like that, because it sounded like that came from the players and not from the coaching staff, and they were able to execute it.
Well, yeah, and again, they did a good job on it. I think McDavid had a rough night too, which helps. Sure. I mean, listen, that's the part of that's baked into the cake. Right? Look, if a guy's not ready to go, that's not your fault. But I thought the Flyers, really holding a team like that in check the other night was outstanding, especially coming off the flurry that Edmonton had put on to Nashville the game before. So, I thought for the most part, it's tough to do. Kudos to the Flyers. They did a really good job the other night. And whether or not McDavid was at his best or not, it doesn't matter. All I look at is who won the game, how the players on the Flyers played, and what it looks like moving into the next game.
Yeah, no question. I'll tell you, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, take it up to the countdown to face off with Tim Saunders and Todd Fedoruk in Dallas in the first period. But I want to talk to you, Bundy, about playing the kids. Like, that's the phrase we see on social media. Playing the kids. Look, you got to have some veterans in there. We'll talk about that too. But for the Flyers tonight, they're going to have 10 of their players are going to be 24 years of age or younger. So we'll talk about playing the kids. It's Chris Terrian, Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, Flyers Game Day on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. You have several price options for buying tickets. Be on the lookout for special prices on tickets throughout the season. And remember, the more tickets you have, the more chances you get to win. So what happens when you win? The winner gets 50% of the total jackpot from that day's game. The other half goes to the Dallas Stars Foundation to support local North Texas charities and foundations. The heart of the Dallas Stars Foundation is to invest in the North Texas community by creating unique programs that nurture and enrich the lives of those in need. You can be part of it by playing the 50-50 raffle every time you go to a Stars game. The 50-50 raffle. One city, one team, one winner.
What happened, guys? Thanks for getting that fixed. It's so annoying. Yeah, because I hit that. Sister Jason said, but the thing I did last game was I didn't have to connect anything. It just you guys picked me up on your own. Yeah. Thanks for doing it. Thanks. No. It's all good. All good. Yeah. Sorry for getting heated.
And we are back as the Philadelphia Flyers are set to take on the Dallas Stars. All right. Play the kids. That's what everybody said. Play the kids. Play the kids. If they're not ready, play the kids anyway. 10 players in the Flyers lineup tonight are under 24 years of age. Here they are. Emil Andre, Tyson Forster, 21. Cam York, Bobby Brinker, 22. Zamula and Farabee, 23. Ryan Paling, I didn't realize he's only 24, but he's 24. Sam Emerson, Noah Cates, and Owen Tippett, 24 years of age as well. Bundy, where do you fall in on that kind of play the kids mentality?
Well, I mean, you can't just simply go and play the kids, because what happens if you just play the kids, you don't have people slotted into the right spots, and maybe there's people aren't as comfortable. I mean, it's easy to say that, oh, let's give all the kids a look and let's let them gel and grow and win a Stanley Cup. No, that's just not how it works, because other teams have good young players as well. We don't want to forget that. And also the development in it. You know, there's a process in the way you develop guys. And let's say you're looking at a guy like Zamula and Andre. That's a good example of, you know, they were getting swapped out. I heard the other night that was kind of another part baked into the cake a little bit, that Zamula was going to come out and Andre was going to go in no matter what. So that's development. That's the way that you want to do things, maintain players, give them an opportunity to succeed. And so I think that's the part where you can't just go play all the kids. It's nice that they're young, but are they young because they're chasing the league, or are they young because this is really the core that you want to see moving into the future? I think it might be a little bit of both. But even though they're young, Jason, yeah, I think the Flyers' assessment right now is, and you know, Danny said it, we're in a rebuild. This is a rebuild right now. So how many of those kids are viable options going into the future? Time will tell, and their performance will dictate that.
You think that predetermined element you just mentioned about Andre and Zamula is maybe learning a little bit from last year when Zamula played a bunch and then he looked overwhelmed and he had to be sent down?
Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, you know, he's at the stage now where you just got to let him go. Like, you can't just keep waiting for a guy till he's 26 or 27 to fill in and you know, and see what kind of a player he is. Andre's the other one. For me, he needs time in the minors and probably at least another 50, 60 games just to get used to it. The American League and the NHL are similar in their styles. It's not a huge drop-off in terms of speed. Skill, you will see it, and positionally, NHL players are better. But it would be an opportunity for him to go down. I just feel like that's kind of what it is. But again, the Mark Stahl injury makes things, interesting. Is 4 to 6 weeks he's on, the injured list, and that'll be an opportunity for guys to step up. But I think right now you have to live with some of these guys' mistakes and just let them play. You know what they are. I mean, if a guy makes a mistake and comes out of the lineup, you can't keep the guy out forever. You got to get him back in there, especially a defenseman, because the only way to learn is to make mistakes. It really is. Defense is the worst position in probably all sports in hockey to play. It's just, it demands so much. You have to have so much in your head going on at once. Coverage, moving the puck, defending. It's just
a very entailing job.
Yeah,
there's not a ton you can do to look great sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, it's just not a glorified position, you know. And I mean, that's a position where you leave the game, and you're like, for a guy like me, just defensively. And none of these guys are Duncan Keith, right? We're talking about here, like, we're not talking Paul Coffees of the world. And for me, I would just feel good coming out knowing I did a good job checking, defending the other team's top line. And there's no glory for that. The only glory I always tell for people is when the coach didn't talk to you for 6 months and just left you alone and let you play. That's how you knew you were doing your job. You know, Bundy, to the rink, and that's the way it goes.
Bundy, Torts has said over and over again for the past year that he thinks defense is the hardest position to learn to play at the NHL level. And I guess that's all the reasons you just laid out is exactly why.
Well, we agree on something. That's good. It's true. It's a brutal position. Yeah. You could probably say other guys like pitching. There's got to be something in baseball that people equate it to. Basketball, I mean, everybody plays the same, right? They just play back and forth, and there's no structure until the last minute of the game. Football, there's a lot of structure. You know, there's a lot of plays and a lot of preparation. Probably an offensive lineman would be very similar to a defenseman. There's just so much going on in the field, and you have to know everybody else's job. You know, the wingers, they're dumb. Like, I'm going to say, I used to tell John LeClaire, I'm like, dude, for a guy who scores 50, you're the dumbest hockey player I've ever seen. And like he couldn't kill penalties, but he would be on the boards and he would go at guys in front of the net with ferocity and he'd score goals.
Yeah.
Smitty's about to burst out laughing. I tell him, all defensemen, we do all the thinking for you wingers out there. and you know what? Johnny would
you
probably
get all the glory.
come back and yeah, well, you know what I would say? Like, there's a lot of those forwards that just wouldn't kill penalties, right? Like I would say big guys like that, you see them out killing penalties. No, Johnny was there to score goals and he did it extremely well. He didn't kill penalties.
Yeah, you don't want to waste any of his minutes killing penalties either.
No, but a reliable on the boards. When I circled the net, John Leclerc was there every single time waiting for that
farm
puck.
boy strong, Bundy.
But
he had insane strength.
But the inside, when I'm talking about the D zone guys,
Yeah.
it's the two defensemen in the center is what I'm trying to. That's why I'm making light of the John. Like it's a joke, of course, what I'm saying. But the center and the two defensemen are the ones that have to kind of manage everything down there. And there's an old like Eric Desjardins used to tell me, never trust a winger ever. Don't ever trust a winger. And he was right. He was right. You had to make it happen with your center iceman.
There's got to be a lot of chemistry there. I think a defenseman, especially the way you played, Bundy, a lot of it was, you want to be, as long as the announcers aren't saying your name, you're doing your job. Like an offensive lineman. As an offensive lineman, you don't want to be pointed out unless you pancake somebody getting down the field on a block or something. But if you're doing your job, you're not getting talked about.
Correct. Yeah, 100. That's 100% right. There's a lot going on in the D zone. Communication with the goalies, with the center, the other D, making good plays. It's really, really a lot.
Talk about the goalie communication. Talk about that goalie communication real quick.
So that's always the part where the goaltender will get the puck on a wraparound or a bump in and he'll get it. And what you're really trying to do is let him know with as much time, either leave it, I got it. In other words, so if you say I got it, that means you're going to wheel the net with the puck. You see something before you go back. The defenseman's always got to look behind him to see what his options are. And it's literally a quick turn. Okay, I have 1 second to make this play. Maybe I got a center slide into the crease. Maybe I can float a backhand pass there of a quick one. Most times the play is going to be to the boards if you can get moving. But the goaltender, we want him to leave the puck. Sometimes you're going to skate by the goaltender. You're going to tell him to rim it because there's a winger right there, and you're just going to try to drag that forward. All communication. It's all, and then your defense. And most of the time, when you have a partner, you're going to be able to read each other and have a pretty much just a bodily understanding of what happens and what's going to happen. Yeah. So I think from that standpoint, it's pretty neat. But the center as well, it's got to be a real good hard line of communication involved.
Smitty, 30 seconds to close out the pregame show. Set the scene down there in Dallas. You're on site, boots on the ground.
Well, it's they got everything rolling here. It's a pretty decent crowd here tonight. Base is filling up slowly, and it's it's another gorgeous night here. So it's a crowd ready to get going on another season here. The Flyers again have not had the best of luck here as of late. They're going to try to slow them down, and I think Bundy nailed it. Play a perfect road game. Do the same thing on Tuesday, and then come back with as many points as you can.
Yep.
Bore the home fans to death.
Yep.
That's the move.
Yes. Yep.
All right, stay tuned. That's Chris Tarian. That's Brian Smith. Smitty and I will be back at intermission. Bundy, we will talk to you for the next pregame show before Vegas, baby.
Yes, sir.
There. That puts a wrap on this Flyers game day on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network.